You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
Good evening. Welcome inside the Red Zone, coming to you from the floor of the BHOW Arena after the Runnin' Rebels lost here at San Diego State. Kevin Bollinger with UNLV head basketball coach MARVIN MENZIES. And I know this seems like maybe Groundhog Day. We're talking about the same things over and over.
Right.
But this team fought to get back in. They just couldn't close the deal in the last 4 minutes.
Yeah, there was a period of time where we felt like, you know, okay, let's just finish this thing now. We got them back where we want them. I think we were down 5 or 6, and I think it just kind of went the other way quickly. Just like the tide comes in, the tide went right back out swiftly, and we didn't get a chance to right the ship, so to speak. So, you know, it's one of those things, Kev, when you look at it, you got to try to find silver lining things. You got to try to keep the kids up, keep them positive, keep them believing, you know. They played really good basketball first maybe 15 minutes of the first half, and maybe about 15, 16 of the second half, but unfortunately against a team like this, you can't disappear for 8 minutes and then expect to win a game.
Let's take a closer look at the highlights of this one, where the Runnin' Rebels, as we said, got it to 6 with 4:42 to go, but just could not get it done from there.
BHOW was rocking as the rival Runnin' Rebels rolled in. Jalen Poyser suited up but did not play for disciplinary reasons. UNLV got off to a nice start. Christian Jones knocked down a long jumper to get them on the board. Then Uche Afebu with the steal. He heads the other way and throws it down for the lead. But San Diego State D'd it up as well. Jeremy Hemsley with the swipe. He gets the layup on the other end. The Rebs work inside as Chekna Dembele gets the bucket. Chris Clyburn hit a triple, and JoJo Mori put away a baseline J. But about 7 minutes in, the Aztecs went on a 16-4 run to open things up. Matt Shrigley hit a 3. Malik Pope gets a 12-footer. Then Pope again from the same spot. SDSU got a block on the defensive end, and on the other side of the court, Trey Kell gets a lay-in, and MARVIN MENZIES calls timeout. The pressure bothered UNLV's young guards. Zion Morgan with an ill-advised long pass that is picked off, and Shrigley converts with a 3 on the other end. Ofebu into the run with a triple, but SDSU went right back to Pope in that same spot for another bucket. Late in the half, Shrigley with the steal and layup on the other end. He tied a career high with 16 points, and he did it in the first half as the teams went into the locker room with SDSU up 41-26. UNLV made a run opening the second half. JoJo hit a 3, then the steal, and Ofebu delivers the slam. Mori hit another triple. Ofebu drives for the lay-in, and Clyburn hits a trifecta. 8 minutes into the second, the Rebs in transition. Mori goes the distance with a finger roll, and that would get the deficit to single digits. Hemsley would answer with a 3, but JoJo placed topper from deep. San Diego, though, would open things up again. Mori turns it over. Max Hutzel scores on the other end. That would open the lead back to 15. UNLV made another push to get back in it. And when Mori knocked down this 3, the Rebels were within 6 with just 4:42 to go. But there were missed opportunities to make it tighter. Kell would deliver a big blow as he gets space and nails a shot clock beating Jay. On back-to-back possessions, UNLV turned it over. First, a traveling call on Tyrell Green, and then Ofebu dribbles it out of bounds, and that would seal the deal. UNLV shot 52% in the second half, but San Diego State outscored them 38-20 in the paint, and they win it for the 10th straight time in this series, 77-64.
Too many mishaps on the court that we need to clean up. You know, we'll fight back and then lose a shooter and they hit a dagger 3 or miss a rebound assignment. It's the small things that change momentum for us in the games that we're losing.
So the first time around, when you guys played with Thomas and Mack, you did a great job on Hemsley, and Kell hurt you. Tonight, you guys did a great job on Kell, but then Shrigley and Pope come out of nowhere and have huge games for UNLV, especially Pope from the same spot over and over again. That was a recurring theme.
Yeah, we tried to do some different things, and when we finally got the guys to follow the scouting report and full front him, we were able to get some stops on him then, and that's what happened in the second half when we made some adjustments. But he was hot, he was rolling, and Kell was somebody we just were going to climb all into and deny him all over the place. And it hurt his scoring, but he still made a big bucket when he needed to, which big players do, good players do. And he still was a factor because there were times where the guy guarding him wasn't in position to be a helper because we concentrated on taking him out of the game because he hurt us so bad last time. But like you said, then they have other guys that step up and make shots, and Hemsley and Shrigley and Pope, and it just got more depth, and they were able to turn that into to a winning margin.
San Diego State's one of those teams that drives younger or more inexperienced players crazy, especially guards that have to bring the ball up against pressure and everything else. And we saw that a few times with some turnovers here and there.
Right.
That's a learning point, though, for people like JoJo Moring and Zion Morgan, that they can benefit from seeing that a little bit, right?
Yeah, there's no question. I told JoJo at halftime, I said, listen, man, we need you to score the ball. You got to be more aggressive, but I don't want you to get reckless, so you've got to read the defense beyond the guy guarding you. And when he did that, he made some pretty good decisions. He had some nice kickouts for threes. He drew the secondary and the primary defender and had some nice driving dish opportunities. Still think he ended up with about 5 assists. But he's one of those guys that can get going and get hot. And he did that in the second half, and we needed him to. Just needed a few more guys to come along with him.
How do you straddle that line with somebody like JoJo Moring where he is the point guard, but he doesn't feel like he has to carry the whole weight on his team, on his shoulders, and so he tries to do too much, and it turns into bad situations?
Well, I think he struggled to be a little too aggressive when they went to denying him the ball, which was a great strategy on their part. Then when he finally touched it, he didn't want to give it up again, so he tried to make some things happen. That's when the turnovers occurred, I think. But there's a delicate balance between a talented guard like that who could score the ball for you, but is not necessarily in a position to be the great decision maker for the whole team and the other 4 guys who make them better the whole game. That's a challenge. But he's given us all he's got. He's given us the best effort he can give us. So I have no complaints about him at all. We'll keep getting him better and keep him moving in the right direction.
Jalen Porzer did not see the floor in this game. Can you explain why that happened?
Just a coach's decision based on violation of team rules, so that was his punishment. He knew what it was, and he handled it well in his defense. He was very positive on the bench and showed a great attitude, and so we'll try to navigate through that and hopefully get him back sooner than later.
And Troy Baxter, is
still
injury
injured.
coming back, so it's kind of game to game at this point?
Yeah, well, it's actually, I think the doctors shut him down for at least a couple of weeks, so I don't know how far we're into that right now, but excuse my voice, I can barely talk here, but so he's one that we're playing by ear a little bit, but I'm just, again, leaning on whatever the doctor's saying. So not having those 2 guys available, obviously, was a little bit of a factor. But the rest of the guys fought. They fought, man. We're fighting, and that's so I can ask of them. Is to just keep giving me what you got, and then let's clean up the mistakes. And we can't wait till halftime to review all the scouting report, technical aspects. Some of those got to happen within the flow, engaging with each other, talking to each other, and they had a really good practice, and it showed in spurts. It just didn't carry over to a win for us.
Well, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to look ahead to an important week this week with games against Air Force in Colorado Springs, and of course the rematch with Reno on Saturday, Thomas and Mack. Stay with us. The Red Zone rolls on in just 2 minutes.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
The Runnin' Rebels back to a 2-game week this week with games against Air Force and UNR.
Wednesday night in Colorado Springs, the Rebels visit the Air Force Academy. In the first meeting on January 21st at the Thomas & Mack, UNLV won in a double overtime thriller that included buzzer beaters by JoJo Mooring to force overtime and Jacob Van to force a second. Neither team shot particularly well in that game, but the Rebels did a great job of eliminating the backdoor cuts that Air Force is known for. The Princeton-style offense is never easy to play against, but it's a system that the Academy has to use to stay competitive.
We're recruiting to a system, maybe more skill than athlete, maybe less size, but fit how we play. Can make the pass. All of our players can dribble, pass, and shoot. Some a little better than others in some of those areas, but those guys really fit what we do.
Then there's the road factor. Teams always seem to struggle at Clune Arena, a place that has a couple of equalizers.
An advantage would be the altitude. It's pretty tough to play up here. I feel like I'm never in shape in practice or anything like that, but then when games get going, you see the other team just dying and you realize, like you're used to this. Obviously the people come back to watch us play, and like the students, it's like it's just a big family and a big community that come, that supports each other. And it's a pretty special place to play.
This is a big game in terms of seeding for the Mountain West Tournament. A win by UNLV in this one would give them the tiebreaker against Air Force and potentially keep them out of the cellar in the standings. On Saturday afternoon at 3, it's time for Las Vegas to host the rivalry game as UNR comes to town. The Wolfpack rolled the Rebels in Reno a couple of weeks ago, dominating from start to finish as DJ FENNER poured in a career-high 37 points and Cameron Oliver produced 25 to go along with 9 rebounds. The Wolfpack players have bought into the rivalry, and it shows.
We're playing for more than ourselves. We're playing for our cities, our fans, and history.
Your awareness is heightened and your intensity level picks up a little bit. So therefore, I think you see really, really high quality games when two rivals play each other.
UNR is fighting for a regular season Mountain West title and lead the conference in statistical categories like scoring offense, scoring margin, three-point defense, and assists. Could UNLV get a little extra boost playing on its home floor? The Wolfpack are ready for what awaits them.
We want to put on a show. That's how we look at it, and seeing and hearing the fans, talk a whole bunch of junk before the games. It's really exciting. It's fun.
The side story will be Dave Rice, back in the Thomas & Mack as a coach for the first time since he was fired 3 games into the conference season last year. It's only going to give added buzz to what should be an intense game.
Let's start breaking down this Air Force game, and before we get to the X's and O's, this is actually a very big game. Air Force right there with UNLV in the standings. You beat them the first time. You win this game, you have the tiebreaker. From a seeding position in terms of the Mountain West Tournament, this could be the game that's the difference between going in at maybe 1 seed higher than you are.
Yeah, in all honesty, Kev, I don't know how much of a difference that makes. I mean, are you fighting for a 10 seed? That's probably not a good thing. Let's be honest. We're 11, 10, 9, whatever we are is what we are. We're going in there to try to play our best basketball at home for 4 days, and so where you start and where you finish are hopefully 2 different things. Hopefully we don't start. If we don't start with a great seed, hopefully finish with winning the thing. And I got to just make sure they keep believing that. And the more positive people are to letting them know that they appreciate them and appreciate their effort, it goes a long way. Because they're kids. They're kids and they're fragile beings still. Even though they're still in the process, they're young men. We're in the process of turning into men. So they got to handle themselves the right way. It's not just about where we're seated. It's about playing a better basketball game against Air Force than we played tonight.
In terms of what we're going to see on the floor in Air Force, you did a really good job at the backdoor cuts the first time around in that double overtime game at Thomas & Mack. But they still obviously get some good looks. I assume when you go back and look at the film to start prepare for this game, you're going to have a lot of the good to point out. This is what happens when you guys do what you're told.
Right. We'll guard them a little bit more with the man-to-man stuff. We played some zone, we played some man-to-man, but I think our man-to-man is something that's getting good for us. So regardless of their system and how hard it is to guard, we got to take away. You're right. We got to take away the things that they do well. So we'll talk about those in Scout tomorrow and Tuesday.
And then UNR comes to town on Saturday. We all know what happened in Reno a couple of weeks ago. But after the game, a lot of the Runnin' Rebel players talked about, we get the rivalry now. We see it a little bit better. That's maybe an important thing. I think maybe they had to see it for themselves, right? And how crazy it was. This is their chance to get back on their home court and maybe get in there and see if they can get it done.
That's our plan. We're not going into any game conceding the game before the game. So, I mean, we fully expected to come in and compete and be in an opportunity to win this game in winning time. We knew what the challenge was here at BA House, but. And we were there. I mean, we were 6 points or whatever it was, but we got to finish. So against Nevada or against UNR, we've got to put ourselves in a position to play much better than we did to start the game out there. And that's one thing they jumped on us there, and we can't have that happen.
FENNER had a career high points that night, and obviously when you look at what he can do outside and then they have a little bit of an inside game, that's where things get really tricky in terms of how you defend, right?
No question. They've got, we did a pretty good job on a couple of their guys that we wanted to focus on, but they still got going a little bit too. They break, which you expect from their star players, but we didn't anticipate. Well, we were optimistic that the other guys, the third and fourth option, wouldn't be as effective, much like tonight, And unfortunately, at Reno, that's what happened. So, so we got to shore that up. We'll tweak some things in the scouting report. But we know their personnel. They know us. So at the end of the day, rivalry games are a fight. Rivalry games are something that you play for more than you might play just another game for a win. It's not just about the win. It's about your fans, the community, your campus community. The city. And so we've got to represent the brand the right way that game.
We're going to shift away from basketball here. Up next in the Red Zone, we sit down with UNLV head baseball coach Stan Stolte to talk about the upcoming Rebels season. Stay with us.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by R.C. Willey. Your home, your way.
Welcome back inside the Red Zone. We're joined now by UNLV head baseball coach Stan Stolte to talk about the season. It's just getting underway. I know this is always an exciting time of year. What do you got coming back, and what can fans expect out there this year?
Well, they're going to see some faster-paced baseball, I think. We've got a good balance of kids coming back offensively, position-wise, that are good athletes, and we're going to play good defense. And I really think we're going to be one of the better defensive teams on the West Coast, and we're going to play hard.
We've talked with Coach Sanchez with football about the importance of recruiting locally, and there's so much baseball talent here locally. How much of an emphasis do you have to try and keep some of these guys here in Southern Nevada?
Oh, it's our major emphasis, and we're having good luck with it so far. We're very happy where we're at from a recruiting standpoint, and as you can see on our roster, the majority of the kids are from Las Vegas, and we feel we have to be good, we have to get the local kids, and we're having good success doing that.
Now, you have a pitching background, but you've also brought in Greg Maddox this year as a pitching coach. What does that do in terms of a program recruiting-wise, but also the day-to-day work that he does with your pitching staff?
Oh, all phases. Obviously from a recruiting standpoint, who wouldn't want to come pitch for Greg? And that's why I fired myself and hired him. Quite an improvement in that area. And then the day-to-day instruction and just the knowledge he brings, not only just baseball, just the overall part of the games. He's sat in the dugout, big leagues for 20 years, and he sees things that the normal guy doesn't see, and he just sees the game through a different set of eyes, and it's great for him to share that knowledge with the kids.
Baseball, unlike most other sports, is such a grind because there are so many games and travel and everything else. How do you make sure that you keep your guys even keeled, where if they do, say lose one on a Friday night, start a 3-game series, that they keep their head in and knowing this is a long road to go?
No, that's part of being successful in baseball. It's such a negative game, and we preach it all the time. It's just, you just worry about the next pitch and worry about what you can control, just like every coach is telling their guy, and the ones that do have success.
For fans who haven't been out to the yard at Early Wilson Stadium, it's always a fun time, and you guys are doing more things to make sure that people come out and see the product, and it's a family atmosphere, but a lot of fun, and that's important for you guys to have a big crowd in the stands.
We've got some local people, fundraiser, that have really gotten involved in the game's experience this year, and we're going to tailgate and have some neat things going on at the game, and it's really going to be a good experience for all family members to come out this year.
And you have a big series coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday of this week. Cal State Fullerton's coming in, obviously a longtime powerhouse on the college baseball scene. That's important, bringing in some of the big clubs, kind of see where you're at, but for fans to see that too.
Absolutely. They're probably the strongest program on the West Coast for the past 20 years, year in, year out, and we'll be challenged, and hopefully we'll be up to it.
All right, Coach, good luck this season.
Thank you, Kevin.
Looking forward to getting Nab out here to Early Wilson, and we hope to see you out here at the stadium as well. We'll be back to wrap up the Red Zone with the Runnin' Rebels Plays of the Week right after this.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
That's a wrap for the Red Zone. Thanks so much for joining us. We leave you tonight with the Runnin' Rebels Plays of the Week. Good night.
Family on 3, 1, 2, 3, family. I've been waiting all my life to live when I've only been dreaming. Get love when I've only been stealing. Can't let time keep passing me by. Run down what I've always been chasing. Block out every fear I've been facing. I'm rising up from the ground. From the bottom, can't hold me down, hold me down, hold me down. Wake me up, the time is now.
The Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show was presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.